What is your favorite moment from past mazes? Anyone?
So, for me, the first year that I designed an attraction from the ground up was actually Infected with John, and it was his first year designing an attraction from the ground up for Scary Farm. And the first time that we sound checked, we turned everything on. It was, I don't have any kids, but I assume that's what it feels like. It was so perfect and epic. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Camp Snoopy is not scary to be in, but it was super immersive, and that's the feeling that I've been chasing since the first time that I heard that thing turned on.
I'll give you mine real quick. It's from Dark Ride. I have a million of them because I've been there forever. But I was walking through Dark Ride, and do you guys remember that dummy you had in there that was like realistic? Because I was walking through and I was like, why is this woman lying here? We're not open, ma'am, we're not open. Oh, it's a dummy, now I'm the dummy. It was so real. I thought she was like asleep or something. Oh, it was fantastic.
Mine would probably be, it was last year, Trick or Treat, Lights Out, and we did a 5 a.m. walkthrough, no talent, but it was trying out the flashlights for the first time, all the effects, all the sound, all that. And, you know, I've been coming to Knott's a long time. I've only been working here for 2 or 3 years, but I thought I was pretty immune to everything, and I have never shuffle stepped, like skipped through a maze so fast by myself. And just got out the other side and was like, yep, that's good, let's skip. Yep. Open it up, let's do it.
True story. During that walkthrough, like a book or something moved, and Ken...
I dropped the F-bomb.
He dropped it. There's no audio, there's no talent in there, and it scared him to death. It was great.
Which I wasn't allowed to do at the Walt Disney Company.
If you're not familiar with Walt Disney.
All right. What's the most frightened you've ever seen someone? Other than budget time. What's the most frightened you've ever seen someone?
I was a talent for 1 year, and I scared a guy and he kicked me in the balls. and then he hugged me.
We have a pin that will commemorate that.
It's a headstone and it says Dan's testicles. That's the scared I've ever, the most scared I've ever.
That thing will drop soon.
Oh man.
Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that. The most frightened I've ever seen someone, if I can interject here, was in a little maze we did called Trapped, and it was a girl who wet herself, and it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. We watched it, Scott remembers, we watched it on video, we're like, she's going, it's going, there it is, yes, winner!
Oh man.
How about you guys? Most frightened you've ever seen someone?
I think we had the privilege of sitting back and watching the CCTVs in Trapped, which is always fun.
Yeah, it was
to watch
fantastic.
people's reactions. So we were sitting there, and somebody was genuinely freaking out. And that I don't remember is the electrical room with the water that raised up, and they literally must have felt like they were trapped. So they got desperate to try and swing across by the fake wires that we zipped out
Oh my god.
of the ceiling. Those are always enjoyable moments.
The great news
They
is,
help though.
the great news is we've seen all those videos, so they exist somewhere.
The big reveal is that we're watching you guys all the time. Laughing.
That's also the most rewarding moments we have.
We don't get paid in money, we just get paid in watching that. We get another hour in the room with the cameras.
Okay, do you have a favorite maze or scare zone character? If so, why are they your favorite?
Well, I got one. I'm gonna get points for this one.
Better say the prisoner.
My wife used to be Symbols the monkey in Carnival, and I fell in love with her there and married her, so she's by far my favorite character. And,
Wow.
My favorite characters in the audience. My daughter played Maggie in Possessed. Hey, you guys.
I don't even think we could say anything because we're gonna have a bunch of monsters coming up to us after this. But what was your favorite?
I thought I was your favorite.
For me, it was in a maze called, I think it was called the Underground, and there was a guy on a live mic, and we used like a mirror gag. I say we, I wasn't working there at the time, I was like 17. But, so it looked like he
Oh, yeah,
didn't
that's
have,
the Overlord.
Yeah, he didn't have like a
Original.
lower half of his body, he was just a
Spine
spine
master.
and
Yeah,
a
the
guy
spine
on a mic
master.
just talking crap to people.
Yeah, he was great.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife was in the Underground as well as one of the dancers and Club Chupacabras. It's all in the family here. All right, we'll keep going here. These are from Twitter. What creative benefits come from handing off a maze with one designer to another designer in the next season?
So I think it's something that I touched upon a little bit earlier by being able to hand off mazes to people like John to get fresh eyes on it, and to really comb back through and really hone in on details that I wouldn't have necessarily seen. It's pretty awesome for me to be able to step back and then be able to go and walk through that maze, not being able to have experience or seen a lot of the design stuff, and to see what's come out of his head. It's pretty awesome.
I think it's fun. You know, it's definitely fun too because you may not be a part of that beginning process, but you see where it heads to. You know, where I mean, might have not have been in the room when the minute maybe as an idea for a maze came about, but during that journey of where it ends up at, and then the reactions that the guests would have when they go and step through the maze for the first time, was just enough to kind of get a good idea. So for me, it was nice because you get to see what kind of reaction that our guests would get, and then you can play off on that reaction and then get deeper into the story of what the maze is. And the awesome thing for me, I love doing, jumping and sinking my teeth into a maze, because aside from the beautiful sets that the designers are making, they're not even designing sets or creating worlds. Where the characters have its own language, where it has its own distinct smell, where it has a different kind of color palette when you enter through that particular world that they created. And so just having an opportunity to sort of add an extra layer, add an extra texture, continue the next chapter of that storyline, and see what we could do on a creative sense and tie it into other worlds, it's always fun. So it's definitely.
And I mean, me and John shared an office for how long?
4 or 5 years.
The office is an old janitor's closet, I believe, right?
It's right next to my janitor club.
Yeah. So me and John spent a lot of time in this room with no doors and no windows, but well, I remember we're sitting there working on things and kicking ideas around. So I mean, it's stuff that he's also been able to kind of think about through all this time. I don't know where you were when I said, "Hey, let's have a flying dragon talking to a wizard," but
Yeah,
but
I know.
getting to pick that up and run with it, it's awesome.
It's cool. It's definitely fun. Definitely.
All right, this is the question I get asked most often when I go to events like this. What skills or education should they get to become a maze designer? We get that question a lot.
I think for skills, skills is definitely, number one, you gotta definitely have passion. If you love what you're doing, it's gonna show in your work. And a lot of times too is that it allows you to think outside the box when you have that passion. When you have a passion for something, it's not textbook. What we do is not textbook. And the great thing about designing a maze is that we don't exist in our 4 walls of creativity. We break them down and we start thinking about things. And it's that passion that helps you take that next jump over those walls. And the great thing about if you do have that education, if there is a curriculum out there that exists, if I were to say just general, color theory, if you're gonna dive into any sort of programs, definitely be awesome and learn the fundamentals of Photoshop, Illustrator, Vectorworks. Anything else, guys, that you could think of?
I mean, for me, I know we didn't go to school necessarily to be haunted house designers, you know? So for us, like John was saying, it's driven by passion. So for me, it's always staying laser focused on what it is you want to do and be the hardest worker in the room and just get involved. A lot of people ask me how to get into this. It's just, there's so many amazing haunts out there, from the home haunts to the pros. You can go and get involved in some of these and just start learning as much as you possibly can if that's what you want to do.
I always tell people to be fun to work with too, like be easy, you know what I mean? Like that sounds super simple, but it's not always the case.
And be prepared to work really hard.
Yeah,
You're going to
absolutely.
have to work hard. There's long hours, but in the end, kind of the beauty of what we do is that one day it opens, and all of your labor is right there on display for everybody to enjoy. So just be prepared to work hard, but in the end, it's always worth it the first time you get to see people walk through it.
Yeah, and our designers aren't just, skilled in one thing, especially when it comes to Scary Farm. I mean, they've got their hands in audio design, scenic design, wardrobe design, lighting. I mean, they run the gamut. They're writing their own scripts for the mazes and, helping them get it refined. So being a jack of all trades, I think, can really help you kind of lead that path. And I've always given people the advice, go where the wind takes you too. Like whatever the opportunity is, follow that path, because you never know where it's going to end up. I mean, I never thought, in '97 I was working in wardrobe at Disneyland. Never did I think that my title would be producer at Knott's Berry Farm. So,
And I think one thing that we all share is that if you can't see a path to doing what you want to do, just do it yourself. If you need to build it yourself with your own hands, that's what you need to do. Don't be afraid to do that. We all come from a background of making opportunities if we can't find a way to get to where we want. So if you can't get from point A to point B down the street, just hop the neighbor's fence and you'll get there anyways. Just make it happen.
All right, we want to remind you about our announcement event, August 29th at Knott's Scary Farm, Knott's Berry Farm. You can get tickets. There it is, August 29th at 8 p.m. Reservations are available August 9th at 5 p.m. for pass holders at knotts.com/KSF-announce. Tickets to the event are free, but a reservation is required. It will be live streamed on the net. You can go on Knott's Scary Farm Facebook page. Tickets for Knott's Scary Farm are on sale right now. Get your tickets.